Hello everyone, Sam Bloomberg here again with a devlog for Haunt. So today we're going to talk about level generation. You'll notice we're on a new map. It's mostly blank, just have a little platform player start, box which we'll talk about later, and this little guy, the generation manager. This actually handles level generation. And he's made up of a target and this arrow. The reason for that is because it's actually going to start level generation at this position in that direction. So let me start off by just showing you what it looks like. And you can ignore all this debug text, that's all normal. And so here it is. So this is really basic. I don't actually have rooms themselves, but I have like basic floor plans. So we have this kind of room, and then we have a hallway. They all link up, makes kind of nice dungeon layout. Goes on. So, now, how does this work? Well, first of all, we have what I call generation modules. You can also call them templates or something else, but we have, first of all, the meshes for them. So we have this hallway, the mesh for the hallway, and we have the mesh for the room. These are the only two enabled right now. And then we have the actual modules themselves, and they're implemented as blueprints. So we have the large room module. So you'll notice we have the mesh, we have this kind of volume, which I'll talk about in a moment, and we have these little, more of these, what looks like more generation managers. They're actually not, they're what I call markers. And what markers are is they just define where this module can be connected to. So in this case, the room can be connected in 4 different places. And if we open up the hallway can be connected in 2 different places. You can see the direction that they're pointing is where they can be. It's the direction they can be connected. So next we have this this box that surrounds it. And what this is the whoops, that's not it. This is it. The module bounds. And what that is it defines kind of, it's a bounding box for how big this module is. And it's used in order to make sure that modules don't overlap when they're connecting. And actually, that's also what this is, because we have some pre-made geometry here, but we don't want it to generate the level over that geometry. So I put a little box around it. It's not exact, but does the job for now. This is just a test anyway. So now, as for what it's at, like the settings it's using to generate, it'll actually generate the same every time right now because I have a hard-coded seed. You know, this is a generate level function. We have a seed. I also have this iterations, which I have set to 5. And what iterations does is every time it wants to generate something, it takes a look. Okay, we have this many markers. So initially we only have 1 marker, and that's the generation manager itself. But let's say we generate a room, and now we have 3 open markers because we took up the generation manager's marker, the marker to connect that room, and then we have 3 just open markers. So it goes in every iteration, it looks, okay, I have all these markers. I want to place something at every single marker that I can, and I'm going to try. And then next iteration, it places that at all the new open markers, so on and so forth. And it's a pretty simple system. This is with 5 iterations. It gets a nice size. Not huge, not too small either. But let's go on and actually make a new module. I'll show you how module is actually made. So I'm going to create a new blueprint. Have it derived from generation module. Call it mod stair hallway. So I already have a mesh that I made a little earlier. So we're going to add a static mesh component, call it mesh, and we're going to give it a stair hallway. And there's my stair hallway. That looks nice. Next, I need to add the markers. So I need to add 1 marker at the bottom, and that already is facing the right direction. And we're going to add 1 more marker at the top. So let's bring this over here. Bring it up. Turn it around. And put it in the right position. There we go, so we have the 2 markers set up. Finally, I need to set up the module bounds. So I'm going to take this, move it over to its center, believe that the extent is 1,000 in the X. Oops, sorry, 500 in the X direction. Nope, it's a little bit more. So let's make it 700. Actually, move to a kind of top view. It's still a little long. I think can make it a little shorter. So let's make it 650. And that's good. It doesn't have to be exact. I'd make it more exact if I was going to use this in the final game. It's not a big deal. And then let's change how tall it is. Let's make it 100 tall. That's still a little short. So I'm going to adjust a bit more. 200. Whoops. 100. Let's do 150 actually. Alright, that looks pretty good. Finally, I need to make it wide enough, so let's make this 50. 75. Alright, that's good. As I said, it doesn't have to be completely exact, and actually, all this is... It's more likely than not this will be fine even in the final game. This would probably work fine, but it just has to be kind of an estimation to make sure things don't run into each other. In fact, if I really wanted to be careful, I'd actually just make this a bit bigger than the actual module itself. But this will be fine for now, so I'm going to compile that. Now I just need to add it to the list of modules that we can use. So I'm going to go here and say mod stair hallway. And let's generate. Look at that. We now have, well, they're not stairs, they're more ramps. We have ramps. We have ramps that go up, and actually if I eject it here, we have ramps that go down into nowhere at the moment, but you know, that's that. So, ramps that go up, we have ramps that go down. It looks good. If we want to just play around with it, let's type in a new seed. Oops, I need to stop first. Let's type in a new seed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's make this 10 iterations. It's going to be a little slow at generating at first, but it should be okay. And run. There we go. And look at this. Let's eject this. And wow, look at that. This is actually a pretty large map at this point. This might actually be a bit too big. You can see also it goes up. You have parts going over. It's probably a bit too low flying, but the extent the box for the large room is actually fairly short. So, but good. Wow, actually, this is pretty far. You can see ramps going up and up and up and down and back up. Be a little interesting. So talk about future plans with this. Something that this doesn't actually have support for at the moment, but we'll probably add is a chance for each module to appear. And what that means is maybe I don't want... Right now, there's an equal chance of every module being placed next to each other. So I have an equal chance of this large room being placed to another large room, or this large room being placed to a hallway, and all that. And what's going to change there is we're going to actually have a chance. So maybe there's a 30% chance of a large room being placed, and a 30% chance of a hallway, and a 10% chance of the stair, and another so on and so forth, until it adds up to 100%. That's something that's going to be coming. And additionally, there's one other thing that you might notice is that at the end of, once it's hit that iteration count, we kind of end up with these just dead ends here, but there's nothing going to be kind of capping them off. So something else the level generator will eventually do is it'll also have a list of end caps, and once iteration is finished, it'll go through every single marker that's still left open and just place an end cap there. And all an end cap is going to be, it's going to be a same thing as all the other modules, but it's only going to have a single marker such that it doesn't connect to anywhere else. It only caps off a point. And that's pretty much it for this devlog. Thanks for watching.